Okay, so this episode 2, was actually a pretty fun episode, at least for me. We're introduced to the first group date, right? So there's, of course, you see this like every season, like they always do a group date like this where you have to do some kind of thing on like a stage. Like they do it all the time, which I would like, if I was on there, I would fucking hate to do that. So Lotto walks out to her song Big Energy, and the girls' faces are like stunned. I'm not even sure if all of them totally knew who she was, but obviously Lotto is a well-known rapper. And of course, they come out to Big Energy, which is like one of my favorite songs from her. But I found it so interesting because she comes out here and she says she's looking for some bad bitch energy for Zach. So I just found it just so funny how they got Lotto to come out there, and she's talking about bad bitch energy on ABC. It's just super funny, but I'm here for it. So Lotto tells the girls, in order for you to be with Zach, you have to have bad bitch energy. And she talks about how that's just like how a lot of people think that being a bad bitch or having bad bitch energy is like looking a certain way, right? But she's like, it's about being beautiful inside and out, and it's really just about having confidence, basically. So she says the first lesson is that a bad bitch has to know how to dance, and I was like, oh my god, they're gonna have to walk out there and dance in front of everyone. So Lotto tells the girls that there's gonna be more women on this date, and they're immediately like, what is going on? And then next thing you know, out of the pink doors walks Victoria Fuller from Pilot Pete season, Tajwan from, I don't even remember whose season she was on. She's been on Bachelor in Paradise a few different times, but I'm blanking on whose season she was on. And then we see Courtney from like, I know it said season 16. I don't even remember who season 16 was. Okay, now I'm gonna have to Google it because it's bugging me. Okay, I don't know who this guy is, but I think a guy named Ben. I never watched his season. The first season I ever watched was Juan Pablo, and that was, I think that was his name. And that was just, to see, I'm not even gonna get into Juan Pablo's season, but anyways, all three of them walk in. Tajwan's wearing like this really bright pink, it's like a, it's like a leatherish, like pleather type of thing, like waxy. I don't even know how to explain it, but it was cute. It was very Barbie like. I also liked Victoria Fuller's outfit. She was in like a denim dress with white high knee or below the knee boots. That was really cute. And then the other girl was wearing like this black dress. And of course the girls are like, we're not trying to take your man, we're not here to take your man. We're here to tell you, about bad bitch energy, whatever. You're gonna have to walk the runway. And we see Mercedes. Her dance was really good. I liked the pink gloves. I liked the little stick. I really liked her dance. It was cute. It wasn't doing too much. And when Kylie came out, I was like, is this girl a dancer? Like, she dances for some type of team, I'm sure. And of course, she's an NBA dancer. So I was like, of course she is, because she was totally comfortable, and just her moves, like you could tell that she dances. And Lotto's off to the side while Kylie's on. She's like, okay, Kylie, don't hurt nobody, Kylie. I was dying. And then we see Brianna. She comes out with a chair. She comes out with a money gun. I really liked hers too. And she doesn't really like dance on him. She kind of trolls a little bit, but she doesn't like, I thought she was going to give him some type of lap dance, but she didn't. And the next activity, they got to tell Zach about a time where they were a bad bitch. Like a time that you were really yourself. It's just kind of, I guess, a time to tell everyone like who you really are. And I found it funny because Kylie immediately says like, oh my God, like I'm scared of public speaking. And I'm like, but you're an NBA dancer. It's really interesting when people do a profession like that. Obviously you're in crowds, you're in front of a lot of people dancing, but then when it comes time for you to speak, it's like, oh no, I'm like nervous, which I can kind of get. I don't know, I hate public speaking so much. Like literally in college, I kid you not, I saw a TikTok about this the other day and I was like, oh my God, I'm not alone. I would be in college, okay? And college, you make your own rules. Like, you don't have to go to college. You can take as many classes as you'd like, whatever, right? So every semester first day of class, you know, you go into your new class, you sit down, and they usually give you like some type of like syllabus or something. I would look through the whole thing. Okay, I kid you not. I would look through the whole thing, and I would try to find anything that talked about like a presentation or any reference to any kind of like public speaking, anything like that. And if I saw that, I'm like, okay, it's the first day of class. I'm walking out. I'm dumping this class. And I still have time to register for another class and try to get in there like the second day or whatever. So that's how much I hated public speaking. And the thing about community college, at least the one that I went to, in order to transfer to a CSU, you had to take a speech class. Like it was a requirement for you to take a speech class. So I left that for like my last like it was like one of the last classes that I had to take in order to transfer. And thankfully for me, I was able to find a group speech class, so I never had to stand up there alone. We only ever did, it was like a lot of group speaking. Like the class was a lot of like get in a circle, which I hate group work. I hate all that. So get in a circle and we're going to talk about stuff. But at the end of the class, in order to pass the class, you do a presentation, but obviously it's a group presentation. So that was totally better than having to have done it alone. Because in college, they want you to do presentations like minimum 20-minute presentation. Like, I just wish they would like not require people to do that. But anyways, I just went off on a whole thing. So for the next part of the night, cuts to a park with Catherine and Zach mingling, kissing, and you can tell there's a connection there. He even said it in the first episode. I think that's the only person that he's vividly, I think, said like, there's something there, you know? So immediately, actually, when I saw Catherine, okay, here's the interesting part. Catherine, I think, was the first girl that they showed. You know, in the first episode, they show their hometowns kind of, or like what they're like and things like that, right? But they don't do that for all the girls. So what makes me think, I'm like, one of the girls he picks has to be in one of the girls that got the introduction like that, because they only did that for a handful of girls. And they never do it for everyone, but they usually, I feel like, try to pick the ones that are a little more like involved, that you're going to see a lot through the season. So Catherine, when she came out with hers, I was like immediately like, oh, she's really pretty. I think she's a nurse. And I was like, she has to go far, right? So it seems like it's going to be that way. I think there might be spoilers out. Back in the day, it was really only Reality Steve. Like if you wanted to know a spoiler, you had to go to Reality Steve's Twitter, to his blog, whatever. But now people pick up that and other information, and there's so many Bachelor like Instagram accounts now that you can find out all this information from. I don't really even follow Bachelor accounts because I don't even want to be spoiled at this point. I just want to watch it without having to like run into any of that. So Brianna, she's the one that got America's first impression, I think it's what they call it. And she kind of breaks down to Zach and said she feels like I think she feels like because she got that rose, I don't know, like the connection's not really there for them. And he kind of reassures her like, no, I want you here. And he gives her a kiss. Okay, and here's the interesting part. While Zach is talking to one of the girls, Tajwan comes back in and interrupts. And I kid you not, when she does this, I was like, I knew it. Because earlier in the group date, when she's kind of talking to the girls about being a bad bitch or whatever they're going to have to do on the runway, the way I swear to God, you have to go back and rewind and watch it. In one of the scenes, the way she talks about Zach while she's looking at Zach, I'm like I watched that and I was like, is it just me or does it look like she's kind of into him or like she's kind of trying to flirt? Like it looks like a little something, but I was like, I brushed it off because I was like, she's just there. They bring back people from other seasons all the time. She's just there to be there. So when she comes back, I was like, I fucking knew it. So obviously they're talking. She tells him she's interested. She thinks he's a really good guy. She would love basically to come into the house as one of the girls. And he tells her that, he needs to think about it or whatever. And Tajwan's an interesting character because they do bring her back. Like in BIP, they bring her back a lot. And she never actually finds or like makes a romantic connection necessarily with someone. So I don't know. She came in there like knowing what she wants. So I was just kind of like, I wonder what he's going to do, because he did talk about how like, I want every opportunity to be able to make a connection with someone. So he leaves, right? Because he's like, I'm going to think about it. So obviously the other girls, they know she's there. So they're kind of like, Mommy, are you going to sit down? Okay, so the other girls know she's there. So they're kind of obviously feeling some type of way. Personally, I don't know. I feel like there's so many girls there. If I was one of the girls, I'd be like, whatever. It's just another one of you, like I wouldn't necessarily feel like it's that big of a deal, but they're making a big deal out of it. So some of them go over to Tajwan and to confront her or whatever. And she comes back strong at them. Like I was like, okay, she didn't need to give so much attitude. She did come off a little strong. And she talks about how, like, obviously she was there for the group date. And she's like, you guys, like, missed an opportunity with Zach. Like, you guys weren't hitting. You guys weren't. It wasn't giving what it should have is what she was basically saying. Like, you guys aren't even that interested in all of these things. When she's saying all that, I'm like, okay, at this point, if Zach brings her in, it's going to be drama. Which, if you're the Bachelor franchise, that's what you want, right? You want drama. But I'm like, if he doesn't bring her in, then I feel really bad because she just did the most, okay? She just did the most for her to not even be accepted in. So we see Zach come back, of course, after all the drama, after everything has been said. He just casually walks in and he asks Tajwan to go talk with him. And we never get to see the talk. They don't air the talk. We get to see afterwards where she's kind of crying, even though I don't even think I really saw tears. I really wonder if she really wanted to be there or if this was just a producer trying to get her to go on. Like, hey, we'll throw you some money. We'll throw you some airtime, like just to create a little bit more drama. Because we know if you watch The Bachelor for as many years as I've watched it, like, they want the drama. That's what they want. A lot of these things are planned. All of these things. So we don't get to see much except him tell the girls she wanted to come in, but I felt like I've already made connections and blah, blah, blah. So she's not going to be coming in. The next day, some of the girls are all sitting around and Catherine says something like, she's obviously kissed Zach. And I guess she says something like, I didn't know that you don't use tongue every single time you kiss. And so then the other girls are just getting into the conversation. I'm just kind of like, wow, so you use tongue every single time you kiss? That's crazy. The lucky girl that gets the one-on-one date is Christina. Christina is she looks like she's short blonde, blue eyes, I believe. And she's a mom, right? And she's really fit. I really like her body. I feel like she's really fit. We see them drive off. It's a sunny day in California. I'm like, wow, they are in LA, so LA is kind of always sunny. But it was just such a nice little scene. I love it more now that The Bachelor is back to like traveling and stuff, because when it was like locked down for COVID, all those seasons that we got, like I didn't feel like the seasons were as good. And I hate to say it, but I really do feel like it's because they weren't traveling and we didn't get to see, like, even though they try to make their best out of the situations, it just wasn't giving what it should have. And so I'm so glad that they're back to traveling and we get to see different things. So they're traveling down in the Bronco, and I actually wanted the Bronco that they were riding, and I was like, God, I should have gotten it. I hear there's a long wait list for it, as at least where I live. My friend was telling me about it because I got a new car recently, and I was kind of debating between the Bronco, but I was like, that price, I don't know about that price. And just looking at it on TV, I was like, I should have done it. It's too late now, though. I can't. I have to actually keep this car. So they go on a helicopter all through LA. They fly right by the Hollywood sign. It's a beautiful day. I would love to go on a helicopter date. I've never been on a helicopter. She's like, I don't even think I've ever seen a helicopter up close. And I was like, facts. I haven't either. And he basically tells them, we're going to go to his childhood home. He's going to meet the parents. He's going to meet like a whole bunch of people. Apparently he missed his mom's birthday. So this is like a late birthday celebration, which is a lot of pressure to put on someone. And also the girls who get to meet the family early on The Bachelor usually don't make it to the end, or at least they're not the ones who get picked. I can't totally remember like if some of the girls made it to the end in the past, but we know this, okay? We know this. So I was kind of like, I don't know if she's gonna make it that far. So she's pretty much getting along great with the whole family. Like, it does look like they're bonding, they get along great. And while they're doing all this, right, in the back of my head, I'm like, okay, we know she's a mom. The audience knows she's a mom. At this point, Zach doesn't know. So I'm like, what happens if she's having a conversation with one of his family members and they just bring up kids and they're like, so do you want kids or something like that? And it's an awkward situation because it's like, what is she gonna do? Is she gonna like, even though she hasn't told Zach this, is she gonna tell this? She's gonna say, hey, I do have a kid, blah blah, but don't tell Zach because he doesn't know yet. But I'm meaning to tell him, but I don't want to make it seem like I'm hiding this. Like, all of this is going through my head, right? But obviously no one asked her that. And so she knows, like, I think she's getting along with his family well. There's a scene where his mom pulls out like the baby book and all the baby pictures of Zach, and obviously, and you can see it in her face, like she's kind of like, shit, because she's thinking about her daughter. She's thinking about how she hasn't told Zach all of this. You know, it's not like she has a child, you know, but obviously it's a very big important part of her life, and I can totally get the fact that she wants to save it for the appropriate time. And she's also scared that he might react some type of way. So they get their kind of alone time, and then she finally discloses the fact that she has a daughter, and he's kind of like, he takes it well, honestly. So as she's telling him about her daughter and stuff, and he's kind of weighing in, at first to me it seemed like, I was like, oh my god, is he gonna let her go? Like, is he literally gonna be like, okay, you have a daughter, like, this is not for me, at least at this point in my life? Like, I thought he was going to ask her to go, and then the conversation didn't go that way, thankfully. He wanted to know more about her daughter and told her, you know, not to stress, and he was happy that she shared that information with him. But then when he's talking to the, like, producers, like, to the camera, he's kind of like, okay, you know, like, which is valid. He's kind of like, if I choose her, if it's her at the end, you also have to weigh in the fact that she has a child. The fact that, because he talks about how he wants to be a father, he wants to have a family, right? But it's kind of like, you don't get that time. Like, if you choose her, you do go immediately kind of into, obviously he's not going to be like a father right away. Like, the little girl doesn't even know him. She has to get spend some time with him and all that. But he does have more of there's more of a clear timeline, like this. I'm on that road. So I actually had to take a little break right now because I had to go get some breakfast. This is, yeah, see, got my little Chick-fil-A. If you've never tried Chick-fil-A breakfast, you're missing out. The first thing I ever tried was some type of sandwich. I don't even remember. Some type of sausage sandwich. And it was just not it. I was like, And then one time my boyfriend brought me their chicken bowl. If you've never tried their chicken scramble bowl, it also comes with sausage. Like, you either get chicken or sausage. Never tried the sausage because I'm not a big sausage person. But the chicken scramble bowl is amazing. Comes with little hash browns, little circle hash browns, cheese, chicken, like the little chicken crispers, like, I don't know, little like popcorn chicken kind of, and egg, and they give you this little salsa. Amazing. While he's talking to Christina, and I thought he was going to send her home, I think she had the same idea too, because she looked like she wanted to cry. And I was like, oh my god, poor her. Like, she knows it's coming. And then it didn't. So I'm glad he kept her around. Okay, so back at the house, Ariel. He's talking to Ariel. Now, Ariel is someone that stands out to me. And I didn't realize she's kind of one of the older girls. She's 28. She lives in New York. A lot of these girls, I think, are 23. They're always young. I think to like more of the older people, maybe because I'm older. I don't know. I feel like it's a different scene. Like Rachel Lindsay's season on The Bachelor, as the Bachelorette, like that was one of my favorite seasons, if not my favorite season. But Ariel, let's go back to her. She reminds me a lot of Raven from The Bachelor, from Nick's season. It's the dark hair. I don't know what it is, but she kind of reminds me of her. And I don't know if it's because she's a little older, if it's the way she presents herself, a little bit of both. She just seems more mature than some of the other girls in the house. So she actually asked Zach to like write some of his biggest fears down, and she's gonna do the same. She and they like read out loud their biggest fear, and one of her biggest fears, she says, is getting her heart broken on this experience. And because it took her a long time to recover from her last heartbreak. And I was like, I think everyone can relate to that, because and he even says it like, yeah, like it's very like world ending, like heartbreak is a different kind of like feeling, you know, like it's terrible. So I think they were both on the same page about that. And his biggest fear is to fall for someone who basically is not here for the right reasons, which that would be, I think that's everyone's top number one worst fear coming in as the bachelor or as the bachelorette, because a lot of these people, let's be real, they come on there because of the exposure. Like, you know, if you're going to be on there long enough, I think past maybe the first few nights, like you're going to gain a big following. You're probably never going to go back to working what you were doing before. You're going to become an influencer, you know, so obviously for someone trying out to be on one of those shows, that's a big reason why people go on there. And a lot of people who have been on The Bachelor or Bachelorette have come out and said that, like they've admitted it, you know. Now that doesn't mean that you still can't fall in love, but a lot of them are there for the exposure. So he talks about how that's his biggest fear. So then we see him have another cute moment with Greer. I also really like Greer. I like her energy. I like that she seems very fearless, and she's very cute. Like, she looks very young in the face. Like, she doesn't wear a lot of makeup. You can tell she's like natural, and but she's fun. And to me, it seems like she's there for Zach. And yeah, I don't know, I really like her. And we see Jess and Zach kind of have like a more serious like conversation. She tells him to open up about something that like is unique about him, something that only she would know, in the house at least. And he talks about how he has a great relationship with his mom, and that's because when he was born with pyloric stenosis, I think that's how you say it, and he was told that he wouldn't live, but his mom, you know, kept fighting for him, and here he is. And so I think that was a really touching moment to be able to open up and share something that vulnerable about your life. And then Zach has to give that rose out, and he talks to the girls about how their conversations went and all that. And it seems kind of like, I don't know, like you're a teacher. Like, hey, you all did great work, but there's only one winner. I loved this about your paper. I loved that about your paper. You did great as well. But you know, our conversation really stood out. That's how it seemed, honestly, in that moment. And of course, he gives the rose to Jess, which I thought was only appropriate after the serious conversation that they had. If I was Jess and I didn't get that rose, I'd be like, So we get into this Brianna moment, and I cannot with everything that went down. So I really like Brianna. I do. I think she's beautiful. I think she's there for the right reasons. But I do think she's an overthinker. So Brianna talks about how she's been struggling. I don't know. She says, I feel like the other girls got it easier than she did. And she said she thinks it would have been smooth sailing had she not gotten America's first impression rose. And I don't know that I agree with that. Like, I kind of get where she's coming from, but then I really don't, because I don't know. And she talks about this mean moment that she had with Christina. So they roll the clip and they show the moment that she's talking about, right? So it's her and Christina talking. To me, it looks like Christina has had a few drinks. That's what it looks like. Maybe I'm wrong. So in the scene, we see them both kind of at the bar or whatever it is. And I forget how it goes. Christina compliments her dress. She's wearing like, so obviously she has a rose. She got Brianna, and she's wearing this like rose dress, I guess. And then Christina comments on the dress and says like, I hate you. Just kidding. But again, she looked tipsy, and it was just like I think she was saying it like, I hate you because you got the rose, but I'm totally joking, girl. Like, it just wasn't that serious to me. It wasn't. So Brianna brings up that moment. She says she feels like she wants to have a conversation with Christina to kind of clear it all out. She feels like she got punched in the gut, etc. So she pulls Christina aside and they talk about it. And Christina like apologizes. She said she never meant for her to feel bad or anyone. And she says, do you remember what exactly it was that I said that upset you? Not even Christina remembered. Because it was like, when she talked to Christina, I was like, there's no way Christina's going to remember what she's talking about. There's no way. And of course she didn't. And she's like, oh, you know, when we were at the bar, you said I hate you, blah, blah. And she's like, I'm so sorry. Like, I don't remember saying that, but I understand it now that you explained it to me. Again, apologizes, whatever. And Brianna's like, well, for us to be friends, I'm going to need, like, to see a lot of action from you. And it's just like, you guys don't have to be best friends. You guys can just be in the house together. You guys don't need to have this incredible bond. Like, I felt like Brianna was over exaggerating. I felt like she took a moment. I think it was just her overthinking things. And of course she does what she shouldn't do, and she goes and she talks to Zach about it, which if we've watched the history of The Bachelor, you know that the person that goes to the main and tells them like the drama that's going on, like that never turns out good for that person. And so she starts the conversation. She's like, brings up the previous conversation that she had already had with Zach about her kind of struggling in the house, and brings up the situation, and she's kind of like, do you want to know who it is? Like, there's something I need to tell you. Do you want to know who it is? And Zach is very much like, you know, out of respect, I don't really want to ask. If you want to share, he's like, I just don't like the drama. And if it's been handled, then good, you know, like I don't even need to hear about it. And so she continues telling him kind of like the comment that was said about, I hate you, just kidding. Doesn't say who it came from. And it makes her feel like everyone does hate her. And Christine is basically the only person that was able to say it to her face without saying Christina's name. And he kind of tells her that he feels like she has a lot of walls up, and that their convos never really feel fun. They just feel very strict and serious, which I don't know that was the best response from him. And obviously then she begins to feel nervous about the status of their relationship. And as he's giving out the final roses for the night, of course, Brianna gets the last one. I figured she wasn't going to go home. I figured she was going to be the last one to do it. And I don't think that was on Zach. I think that was on production, because if you know, production, Zach doesn't get to choose the order in which he gives out the roses. And they don't always necessarily air out the exact order that they gave the roses on the show. Like, they sometimes edit it to make it look like someone got the first rose that necessarily didn't, and things like that. And I think it was just a move on producers to kind of try to get in her head more, which I hope that isn't what happens, because I think she's a nice girl and I think she deserves to be there, but that's definitely going to, I think, make her, give her more anxiety about the situation. And that was pretty much the end of that episode. We do see like a little blooper in the end of the girls talking about, some of the girls, about when it's acceptable to like fart in a relationship. And a lot of them, well, some of them were like never, others were like, oh, it shouldn't matter. I'm definitely on the side of never, like, just don't. And that's pretty much it for episode 2.